Good evening and welcome to this special primary edition of 22 News at 6. I'm Don Schiffman.
I'm Ciara Speller. Today is the state's highly anticipated primary election, and a record number of voters are expected to cast their ballots.
So those voters will decide on a number of high-profile battles, in fact. 22 News is working for you with live team coverage across the state. We're going to begin tonight with 22 News reporter Jody Breed. She is live at Senator Ed Markey's campaign event.
Senator Markey spent the morning visiting with voters all across the state, including those in Springfield. And he's hoping to come away with a win tonight to continue to represent progressive values in the Senate. Markey is a prominent political figure in Washington and was first elected to the House of Representatives, where he spent more than 3 decades. He later ran for the U.S. Senate in 2013 to fill a seat once held by John Kerry. Markey is an advocate for environmental justice and currently chairs the Committee on Energy Independence and Global Warming. 22 News caught up with Markey today in Springfield, where he met with voters one last time before the polls closed.
For 1 year, I have been doing this all day, every day. And now we're at the final day, final stretch run, and the only way to deal with it is to run right to the wire.
In a recent poll from UMass Lowell, Markey was beating Kennedy by roughly 12 points, a lead that he's hoping to keep throughout the night. Senator Markey will be here later on tonight, and he's hoping that he'll be giving a victory speech. Working for you in Malden, Jody Reed, 22 News.
And incumbent Senator Ed Markey is being challenged by Congressman Joe Kennedy III.
22 News reporter Katrina Kincaid is live in Watertown Center with a look at Kennedy's campaign.
Kennedy is currently around in Boston right now greeting voters. His campaign told us he'd be back at the headquarters when the campaign received some information about the election tonight. But Kennedy and Markey don't actually disagree on that many things when it comes to Democratic politics. Kennedy, since the beginning of his campaign, has really branded it as a race of a generational fight between himself and 74-year-old incumbent Ed Markey. Kennedy's campaign shows a strong support among middle-aged and older voters who remember the days of his relatives and politics. But Kennedy has criticized Markey's record on racial justice after Markey opposed court-ordered busing to desegregate Boston public schools in the 70s. Both Kennedy and Markey brand themselves, though, as Democratic progressives. Kennedy and Markey support legalizing marijuana at the federal level.
I'm running and challenging the notion that we can do better against a man who I respect but has been in office for nearly 50 years. And as we were at the last location, somebody said, it's been 50 years and this is what we have.
Kennedy won support from House Speaker Nancy Pelosi earlier in his campaign, as well as from late Representative and civil rights activist John Lewis. And recent polls from both Emerson and Suffolk University do show Markey in the lead, but Kennedy was the front runner earlier in this race, so it could really go either way. We'll have the results on air and online at your election headquarters at wwlp.com. Working for you in Watertown, Katrina Kincaid, 22 News.
Running to challenge the winner of that much-watched Democratic primary are Republicans Dr. Shiva Ayyadurai and Kevin O'Connor. Dr. Ayyadurai ran as an independent candidate in the 2018 Senate race, finishing third behind incumbent Elizabeth Warren and Republican nominee Jeff Deal. O'Connor previously worked as a public school teacher and a journalist.